Welcome to another edition of When the Spirit Takes Over. Here we analyze aspects of human consciousness which appears to exist outside the familiar constraints of time and space, a potential of spirit which appears to take over as we cross from one realm into another. There are many ways to connect with the subconscious in order to alter your point of attention and perspective of reality. Along with hypnosis, meditation is one of the best ways of accessing the great potential hidden deep within the subconscious. Looking for consciousness in the brain is like looking inside a TV set for the actors. It cannot be measured in a traditional physical sense. The majority of people living in the modern material world are preoccupied with things concerning the focal conscious mind and are fast losing the ability to take control and influence their own realities via subconscious interaction. If you are not aware and in control of the mechanisms relating to how you perceive reality, then someone else will take the reins and create it for you. Your consciousness can be divided into three areas. Your focal conscious awareness, which is only a small fraction of the mind. The subconscious, which makes up the vast majority of the overall capacity of the mind, and the higher mind or source collective. Together they form a triad of consciousness from which our perceived reality is generated. Outside our human biological experience is energy, vibrations of all shapes and sizes. When we focus on specific frequencies in line with our own thinking processes, those energy vibrations are picked up by our biological senses and decoded in the mind as perceived reality. Whatever belief system an individual adopts will shine a spotlight on those frequencies in line with their preconceived view of the world, and like a magnet will draw towards them compatible energies, adding more validity to those initial beliefs. This is sometimes referred to as a feedback loop. Harmonizing thoughts will home in on harmonizing frequencies, drawing them back through the five senses, adding to the perception of a happy, balanced reality. Equally, disharmonious thoughts of sadness, anger, anxiety, and despair will marry your inner vibrations with those outer frequencies in order to generate a perception reflecting those negative emotions. As participants of the human collective, we all contribute towards the creation of our physical reality. As transmitter-receivers of energy vibrations, we all influence each other with our thoughts and feelings. It is therefore important to choose the company you mix with. It is easy to be happy when all those around you are happy. So by helping others, you are also helping yourself. The focal consciousness of humanity shares a common collective within this physical realm of human behavior. Our souls interact on a biological level within the limitations of time and space. Our subconscious, the dominant part of our mind, also interacts with a collective outside the constraints of time and space on the fringes of the spirit realm. This huge capacity of consciousness interacting on a subconscious level is the engine of our perception of reality. The subconscious being 70 to 95% of our mind, and as a collective is responsible for the potential offerings of energetic frequencies surrounding our physical reality. From that external potential, our focal consciousness homes in on matching frequencies which harmonize with its specific disposition at any given time. This is how the feedback loop is created and how we perceive reality. Whoever controls our subconscious controls the game. They dictate the boundaries within the potential to our perceived reality through limiting the scope of the subconscious. When a child is born, for the first 2 years of its life, its conscious mind is in what is referred to as the delta state. This is deep sleep or coma-like consciousness. Between 2 and 6, the child's brain activity increases into the theta state. This is very much like being in a hypnotic trance, where the subconscious is fully open and acts like a sponge, downloading massive amounts of unfiltered information, perceptions, and experiences about the world and how it works, mixing the real world with the child's imagination. This is when we are programmed, during those early years, with our own unique beliefs, a reflection of our immediate surroundings, our parents' behavior, and our interaction with the community. We are essentially programmed before our focal conscious mind has developed to a point at which it can filter new information entering the subconscious. Consequently, most people spend the rest of their lives with beliefs and habitual behavioral patterns which they had no say in or had very little control over. For the first 7 years of a child's life, both hemispheres of the brain are working together. As they develop, specific thought processes will eventually take place in specific hemispheres, giving rise to the mature mind of the adult. The subconscious can be compared to a computer's internal workings. At birth, we come into this world with a specific karmic disposition, influenced by the orientation of universal and planetary energies. This could be viewed as the computer's central processing unit, whereas all a person's habitual beliefs would be the software, downloaded in the first 7 years of life. The software can be programmed, but the CPU is there to stay. This can go some way towards explaining why some people have easier lives than others. Each of us starts off with unique CPU karmic mapping. Added to this is the software downloaded during those formative years. From then on, you are on your own, master over your perception of the world. While the planetary transits continue to influence the CPU, it is up to the individual to make updates to the initial software, The problem most people experience as they develop is that their focal conscious thought processes of wants, needs, and desires don't always run in harmony with the subconscious mind's habitual beliefs and sometimes coexist in conflict. Because the subconscious is responsible for 70 to 95% of the mind and most of our perceived reality, the focal mind's wishes in this physical world are not always fulfilled. It takes a great deal of effort for the small focal mind to manifest your desires in this physical realm, especially if it is running contrary to the massive capacity of the subconscious. The focal conscious mind acts as a spotlight on an unlimited array of possibilities offered by the collective subconscious. Our individual subconscious is our karmic disposition, together with our programmed beliefs, and because the focal conscious mind's capacity is so small compared to the subconscious, anyone wishing to influence their perception of reality should really start by targeting the subconscious for change, as opposed to battling through their inharmonious gremlins in the physical realm, relying solely on the focal conscious mind. Most people's minds are full of chatter. The monkey mind is a constant stream of random thoughts, images, and reflections of past events and scenarios. Many of these thoughts are self-sabotaging, negative rhetoric, reinforcing Saturnian pessimism, frustrations, and restrictions. This must be dealt with early and neutralized before it grows into a recurring problem which eventually has the potential to attach itself to the subconscious as a new negative habitual belief system. Through the process of regular meditation, one learns to quieten the mind, turning away from the chatter towards stillness. One major aspect of meditation is its ability to reprogram the subconscious with new positive beliefs, which run in harmony with your focal mind's dreams, wishes, and desires. Everything in this world is possible, not just for a few, but for many. The only thing holding most people back is their inner habitual beliefs running in conflict with their physical aspirations. Yet most people throughout the world have no idea how to rectify this problem, which could lead them towards a better life of fulfillment, happiness, and success. Considering the majority of one's subconscious programming took place before the age of 7, in order to reprogram it, one needs to recreate the same conditions which initially opened its door during those formative years when the subconscious information downloading took place. Give me a child until he is 7, and I will show you the man. Aristotle. Apart from hypnosis, meditation is one of the best ways to place the mind in the theta state. It is also important to recreate thought balance between hemispheres. Just like in the mind of the child, this is known as hemisync. One way to achieve this is to cross one's legs and arms as the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, and vice versa. This stimulates both hemispheres. Once this is achieved and the mind has become centered, repetition and positive affirmations can be offered as mantras in order to influence and reprogram the subconscious with new beliefs running in parallel to one's new goals. Because the subconscious is extremely powerful and is our spiritual connection to the higher mind collective, unlike the sequential focal mind, the subconscious has the ability to operate outside the constraints of time and space. With a new belief system in place, your perception of reality will change from within. People and events will seem coincidental as the world around you appears to order itself towards your new objectives, illuminating those similar energies easily for the focal mind to home in on. This is how your dreams really do come true. Understanding the meaning of the word meditation is part of the puzzle. The etymology of the word suggests it came out of contemplation, devout preoccupation, devotions, and prayer. Its origins come from the Old French, thought, reflection, and study. In Latin, it is to think over, reflect, and consider. It is also derived from the root medi, which is to measure. Meditation is constructed from medi, and the Latin root for medi is middle. Like all other words beginning with medi, they are concerned with the middle. Words like medieval, Middle Ages, mediocre, a task done in a mediocre way is average. Medium, the medium temperature is somewhere in the middle. A spiritual medium is a person who acts as a middle connection between the physical and the spiritual realms. Mediterranean, the Middle Sea, between Europe and Africa. Media, reporting from the middle of a story, who are supposed to be impartial, covering from the middle ground. Median, the middle number in a sequence of numbers. Words ending with ation denotes an action or process. Notation, the act of structured written communication. Presentation, the act of presenting a new idea or topic to an audience. Illumination, the act of lighting up a source. With this in mind, we can assume that the art of meditation is a physical act in which a person is trying to reach some form of middle ground concerning the mind and its thought processes. The mind is complicated and only partially understood. In our physical world of modern science, the combined metaphysical aspect of the human mind is overlooked in favor of tangible, measurable units of focal consciousness. The world of the subconscious and metaphysics, which cannot be measured by physical instruments, is conveniently dismissed as a pseudoscience. Emotions cannot be measured. The love one has for their parents or their children has no mathematical scale or equation. However, this does not mean those emotions are fictitious. On the contrary, more people's lives are ruled by feelings of love and compassion than by Pythagoras' theorem or Einstein's theory of relativity. Many modern forms of meditation, especially Western meditation, are the result of fads, fashions, and commercial exploitation, brought about by a new wave of interest in ancient wisdom and philosophy. One must question everything in order to find the right path for themselves. Each one of us is different, with unique karmic mapping, varying potentials of strengths and weaknesses. Consequently, any form of religion or culture with a one-size-fits-all policy is not in the interest of the individual, but for the benefit of the system of control growing up around them. Do not make meditation a complicated affair. It is really very simple, and because it is simple, it is very subtle. Its subtlety will escape the mind if the mind approaches it with all kinds of fanciful and romantic ideas. Meditation really is a penetration into the unknown, and so the known, the memory, the experience, the knowledge which it has acquired during the day or during 1,000 days must end. For it is only a free mind that can penetrate into the very heart of the immeasurable. So meditation is both the penetration and the ending of the yesterday. The trouble begins when we ask how to end the yesterday. There is really no how. The how implies a method, a system, and it is this very method and system that has conditioned the mind. Just see the truth of this. Freedom is necessary, not how to be free. The how to be free only enslaves you. Meditation is one of the greatest arts in life, perhaps the greatest, and one cannot possibly learn it from anybody. This is the beauty of it. It has no technique and therefore no authority. When you learn about yourself, watch the way you walk, how you eat, what you say, the gossip, the hate, the jealousy. If you are aware of all that in yourself without any choice, that is part of meditation. So meditation can take place when you are sitting in a bus or walking in the woods full of light and shadows, or listening to the singing of birds, or looking at the face of your wife or child. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Quotes from Buddha. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. It is a man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, that lures him to evil ways. There is nothing so disobedient as an undisciplined mind, and there is nothing so obedient as a disciplined mind. Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. In Buddhism, the word for meditation is bhavana, which means to make grow or to develop. Meditation helps the individual develop a different awareness, along with the energy needed to transform unwanted mental habitual patterns trapped within the subconscious. Buddha taught many different types of meditation, each targeting specific areas requiring attention, designed to overcome various issues and to develop specific psychological states of mind. The two most common forms are mindfulness of breath and loving kindness meditation. By sitting quietly and focusing on the in-out movement of your breathing, you can train the mind to be in the space between thoughts, during which intruding, distracting thoughts will come and go. By going back to focusing on your breathing, those unwanted thoughts should weaken and pass. With practice, your ability to concentrate will improve, giving you moments of deep mental calm where inner peace will grow. Once the mindfulness of breath technique has been mastered, loving kindness meditation can be introduced. This form of meditation can influence the subconscious with positive words and affirmations, using phrases such as, "I am peaceful and calm," "I am wealthy, happy, and healthy," "I am protected from danger, anger, and hatred." Along with these positive affirmations, a good technique is to think of 3 people, one who you love, one who is neutral, and one who you have problems with, even dislike. In turn, wish them all well as you view them in your mind. If this is done on a regular basis, the garden within the subconscious will begin to change. Those old unwanted seeds of negative emotions like hatred, bitterness, blame, and resentment will go unwatered, overshadowed by new seeds of positive emotions and affirmations, enabling a whole new habitual nature to grow from within. It is my view that the whole concept of meditation is to bring one's mind and thoughts back into balance, towards the middle ground, away from extremes. If we look at the Zodiac's houses as a map of life's variety and expressions of possibility, a balanced and measured mind should be somewhere in the center, not around the edge at an extreme point. The further away from the middle, the further the mind is away from harmony and balance, preoccupied by one specific house's characteristics. The closer your thoughts are to the middle, the more balanced the mind becomes, and the more chance of peace in the space between thoughts. The saying "to be centered" is used much in modern society to describe someone who is mentally balanced, even without a comprehensive metaphysical understanding of what it really means. It is also a process of balancing the focal conscious mind with the subconscious in order to bring them in line with one another, away from conflict and disharmony. When both the focal and the subconscious are working together, the ability to influence one's own reality is greatly increased. With your thoughts, you truly do make the world. This is all part of the enlightening process. The posture for meditation is important in a number of ways. The legs are crossed to create a stable base for the spinal column to be naturally straight. One must feel comfortable in a relaxed, unrestrained manner. The most popular positions are the full lotus, half lotus, and the Burmese posture. The root chakra is placed firmly on the earth, with the crown chakra positioned at the highest point. When one looks at the silhouette of the meditation position, it resembles a triangle, the 3 areas of consciousness. When one prays, they also create the triangle by placing both hands together, pointing upwards. The joining of the hands is a physical expression of intention, joining or balancing both the left and right hemispheres, the focal and subconscious, in order to influence and manifest a new reality. For when 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Matthew 8:20. You are helping us by praying for us. Then many people will give thanks because God has graciously answered so many prayers for our safety. 2 Corinthians 1:11. Meditation and prayer work together as a mechanism to influence and alter the state of mind, which in turn will influence the state of the body and the perception of this physical reality. The habitual nature of the mind through the subconscious can be altered towards a balanced, harmonious position together with behavior. The state of the focal and subconscious mind acts as a spotlight on specific frequencies it is aligned to. Anger begets more anger, and love begets more love. It is the universal law of attraction. The familiarity of a thought will make it much easier to notice and materialize on the outside. True meditation is to center one's consciousness in silence, not to go anywhere or reach for anything, just to be centered in silence. From this position of oneness, prayer and positive affirmations can be introduced for maximum effect. Be still and know that I am. Psalms 46:10. Meditate in your heart upon your bed and be still. Psalms 4:4. Meditation is just sitting quietly, whereas prayer is a projection of the consciousness in an affirming way. So to create the right environment for prayer to be effective, it must always begin by centering oneself through the act of meditation. There is nothing mind can do that cannot be better done in the mind's immobility and thought-free stillness. When the mind is still, then truth gets her chance to be heard in the purity of the silence. Sri Aurobindo: meditation is silence. If you realize that you really know nothing, then you will be truly meditating. Such truthfulness is the right soil for silence. Silence is meditation. Yogeshwami. Many people go to church or their chosen place of worship to rattle off vain repetitions of prayers which they have memorized from childhood and are able to automatically recite unconsciously. They do this without involving any form of meditation, rendering their prayers ineffective. The whole purpose of affirmative prayer is to change our conscious perspective from within. With intent, we align both the sub and focal consciousness towards a given frequency and desired goal. When someone tries to give up smoking after 20 years, they have great difficulty persuading their subconscious, the habitual mind, to quit. Although the focal conscious mind has decided to quit, the subconscious has been offered 20 years of affirming behavior, telling it that it loves to smoke. By centering oneself in meditation, reprogramming the subconscious becomes much easier. Prayer and positive intentions towards the new non-smoker can be introduced, planting new seeds and a new belief system, which in turn creates a new reality. During the summer of 1993, a controlled study was carried out in Washington, D.C., designed to see if a large group of 4,000 transcendental meditators could influence the city's crime rate. Those meditating would, over a period of 8 weeks, use their calming influence over the city's inhabitants. Remarkably, after the results were compiled, they discovered that the crime rate had indeed fallen by a staggering 23%. Spiritual meditation is the pathway to divinity. It is a mystic ladder which reaches from earth to heaven, from error to truth, from pain to peace. James Allen. Meditation is the golden key to all the mysteries of life. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. Meditation is not something that should be done in a particular position at a particular time. It is an awareness and an attitude that must persist throughout the day. Annamali Swami. Meditation is the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness or pure consciousness without objectification, knowing without thinking, merging finitude in infinity. Sivananda Saraswati. If you can't meditate in a boiler room, you can't meditate. Alan Watts. Meditation, perhaps, is the only alchemy that can transform a beggar into an emperor. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. Meditation is not a way of making your mind quiet. It is a way of entering into the quiet that is already there, buried under the 50,000 thoughts the average person thinks every day. Deepak Chopra. There are many ways to reprogram the subconscious when trying to make changes as adults. Repetition is successful, but takes a while and many hours of dedication. It works by creating new automatic habits, which are the domain of the subconscious. We learn our mathematical tables this way, reciting them off by heart without even having to think or engage the focal mind. To live a more fulfilled and happy life, one's internal programming must be in tune with those positive aspirations. If an individual desires a loving relationship but has difficulty in manifesting this in their reality, it could be due to a conflicting belief system. They may, as a child, have harbored a belief of doubt and separation in the area of love. They may have difficulty not only trusting others, but also loving themselves. To rectify this, a new belief must be downloaded into the subconscious. Through repetition of positive mantras, one can stimulate the growth of a seed into a new belief system, while at the same time preventing any further nurturing of unwanted detrimental seeds. Once in the meditative state, the person must convince the subconscious mind that they love themselves. They must repeat the mantra, "I love myself," until it becomes a fixture in their habitual nature. It is very difficult to love others if one does not care much for oneself. Using this technique, one can work on all areas of their lives until the subconscious is fully playing ball with the focal mind's latest aspirations. The mantra used must be simple, straight to the point, and in the present tense, as though you are talking to a 6-year-old child. It is no good reciting the words, "I will be rich," because this is a future concept, and the future will never be in the here and now. One must say, "I am rich," or "I am happy." Therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:24. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past. Napoleon Hill. As a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. Wilfred Peterson. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way you are right. Henry Ford. Nurture your mind with great thoughts, for you will never go any higher than you think. Benjamin Disraeli. I attract to my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether positive or negative. Michael Lozier. The closer you come to knowing that you alone create the world of your experience, the more vital it becomes for you to discover just who is doing the creating. Eric Leventhal. If you can believe that you can do it, the whole universe will conspire to help you. Debasish Mrida. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. When trying to access the subconscious from a sequential focal conscious perspective, trapped by inherent boundaries of time and space, we come up against some difficulty. However, there are many ways to open this door, allowing us to reprogram the subconscious in order to plant new beliefs. The more of the 5 senses you can stimulate during the reprogramming phase, the greater the chance of success. Here are just a few ways to reprogram the subconscious mind. Positive affirmation. Repeating positive present tense statements can override negative thoughts and beliefs already lodged in the subconscious. Use simple positive phrases like "I am happy every day." Visualization. Visualizing your wants, needs, and desires is a great way to stimulate the subconscious into accepting them as your new reality, conspiring with the universe to make it happen. Hypnosis. While extremely relaxed, with the mind in the theta state, the subconscious is open and easily reprogrammed from suggestions offered by a hypnotist. Subliminal audio and visual. The best time to use this method is when the mind is in the theta state, either at the start of the sleep cycle or towards the end. Meditation. This is one of the most popular ways to access the subconscious, although it requires practice and dedication. Willpower and habit. This is all part of repetition. With the will backing positive intent, through repetition, habits form, and from habits, a new character is created. Auto-suggestion or self-suggestion is a simple way to influence the subconscious. New positive beliefs and intentions are repeatedly reinforced by the individual until those old negative seeds and beliefs have withered away and perished. Swimming is another great way to access and reprogram the subconscious. Overlooked by many, this simple process does not get the attention it deserves. Considering water is synonymous with the spirit realm, the moon, and the subconscious, it seems a logical choice when choosing other forms of meditation and subconscious reprogramming. The action of swimming is a great opportunity to achieve moving meditation, while also stimulating many of the 5 senses. It really does tick all the right boxes. The swimming strokes are repetitive and rhythmic. The sensation of water flowing over the body stimulates feeling. You hear the sound of the water in an isolated way. Helps to shut out external stimuli in a cocooning effect. While swimming, you can focus your attention on your breathing. Activating hemisync by using both arms and legs to swim. Swimming can make you feel relaxed. Once the swimming has achieved a comfortable state of relaxation, with an easy, steady, repetitive stroke, positive mantra and visualizations can be introduced. This will open the door to the subconscious, allowing new seeds and beliefs to germinate. Because the subconscious is a non-judgmental magnet to emotional stimuli, there is another practical way to influence it. A technique which has been known about for thousands of years, concerned with emotions, feelings, visualization, and sensory stimuli. There is no better way to energize all these right brain triggers than the emotionally charged orgasm. Many people make the time to create a self-induced orgasm but are they wasting a valuable opportunity to influence their reality? Instead of focusing one's attention on factory-made pornographic images of all kinds of perversions freely available on the internet, one could take the opportunity to use the orgasm as a mechanism to influence their physical wants, needs, and desires in a much broader sense. So whatever one thinks about at the moment of orgasm, together with strong affirmative beliefs, one could sow some powerful seeds towards manifesting their own new reality. One of the reasons why pornography is counterproductive to one's overall life is because it encourages the spilling of the seed, while rewiring the brain with perversions and distractions. I suspect this is all part of an overall agenda, a mechanism to disempower many by keeping them powerless and subjugated. To live one's life by solely relying upon the focal conscious mind in the physical realm to guide you and solve all your problems, while ignoring the vast capacity of the subconscious, is like having 100 radio stations but only ever tuning into a handful. When the focal and subconscious are finally working in harmony, your life's potential is limitless, even to the point of illumination. A good analogy to use when trying to understand this whole concept is to visualize a man riding on the back of a large elephant. The man represents the focal mind, and the elephant is the subconscious. During the man's childhood, the elephant is told to go on a journey through the forest from A to B. This does not cause a problem during the early years of the man's life, but as he grows up and starts to think for himself, he finds his new wants, needs, and desires are not in tune with the elephant. He now wants to go from A to Z, but the little man, only a fraction of the strength and size of the elephant, finds it difficult to persuade the elephant to go in this new direction, and in order to create a new path he has to fight all alone with the elephant and the forest simultaneously. One night the man has a dream where he is shown how to speak a new language, allowing him to talk to the elephant. Over the next few days, the man and the elephant begin to communicate and start working together in harmony. He convinces the elephant to change course to the new destination of A to Z. The man no longer had to struggle with the forest or the elephant. He let the enormous powerful animal do all the hard work while he sat back and enjoyed the ride. The elephant analogy describing the subconscious is an interesting one because in the Hindu tradition, the elephant-headed god Ganesha has many similar characteristics to the human subconscious mind. Invokes order to remove obstacles. His large pot belly is said to contain the universe, past, present, and future. He has paranormal powers. A snake girdles around his pot belly. Snakes are nocturnal hunters and are used to represent the subconscious. He has childlike innocence and behavior, just like the subconscious, which was fully open when we were children. Consequently, when we communicate with the subconscious, we have to talk to it as though it was a 6-year-old child in the present tense. He also represents the divine consciousness. The rope Ganesha holds in his left subconscious hand is the weapon used to remove obstacles. He rides on top of a mouse or rat, which represents the human focal conscious mind. He symbolizes life's cycles, which challenge us to expand our consciousness. Once you have Ganesha, or your subconscious elephant, on the same side as your focal conscious mind's dreams, wishes, and desires, anything becomes possible, even healing with your hands. Do not neglect the spiritual gift within you, which was bestowed on you through prophetic utterance with the laying on of hands by the presbytery. Timothy 4:14. Your inner landscape determines your outer life. Hedi Dupri. The moon is the fastest moving of all the planets and luminaries from our earthly perspective. It rotates around the earth every 27.3 days. This is known as a sidereal month. But because the earth is also rotating around the sun, the orbit of the moon in relation to the position of the sun takes an extra 2 days. This is referred to as a synodic month, 29.5 days. Consequently, the moon moves 12.2 degrees eastwards, occupying each zodiac house for 2.5 days. The moon produces no light of its own, only reflecting what comes towards it from the sun. And as it moves around the earth, we experience the moon's phases from the new moon conjunct with the sun to a fully illuminated moon opposing the sun. As reality is a construct within human consciousness, stimulated by our thoughts together with energies emanating from planetary bodies, especially the moon, its natural cycles and rhythms are therefore important to us when relating to all things to do with our internal subconscious and our spiritual connection to the universe. The moon has an influence on the waters of the earth and on the monthly cycle of female fertility. Therefore, it is reasonable to assume that those influences continue throughout the waters of the body and the inner mind, with the focal conscious mind being only 5 to 30% of its overall capacity. It is also reasonable to assume that the moon's connection to our subconscious plays a role in influencing the larger elephantine part of our consciousness. It is also necessary to comprehend the importance of moon cycles as they interact with the houses and signs of the zodiac. Each month there is a new moon, which takes place in a different sign and house of the zodiac. That house should therefore become the backdrop for sowing new seeds within the subconscious and your internal Garden of Eden. The new moon is the start of a new cycle. It is nature's way of initiating a new beginning, or at least an opportunity to tweak that area of life associated with that house which the new moon falls in. Those 2.5 days of the new moon can be used to plant new positive seeds of intention, dreams, and aspirations. It is a window of opportunity, enabling us to communicate with our subconscious elephant. This is the time when meditation can achieve its greatest impact towards reprogramming the subconscious and therefore alter our perception of reality. Not only can we target those areas of life associated with the specific house the new moon falls in, but also those characteristics synonymous with the house's ruling planet. For example, Jupiter would be optimism, abundance, and good fortune. A new moon in the first house of Aries, I am, ruled by Mars, proactive energy, cardinal fire, is the first house of the self and the focal projected personality. During the 2.5 days of this new moon, it may be a good time to initiate new beliefs about how you project yourself and come across to others, and how your ego is defined. You could take this opportunity to humble the ego or even encourage it to become more confident. This is all about you, the I, me, mine. It is also about the head, so anything to do with the head can be brought into the picture. Healing the head or whatever part of the body is associated with the house each new moon falls in. To narrow down the zodiac house which is being activated by the new moon specifically for you, the native's ascendant or rising sign must be taken into account in order to adjust the house position coming into play. For example, if you have a new moon in Aries, it would influence the first house for rising Arians only, and the second house for rising Taurians, the third house for rising Geminis, the fourth for Cancerians, and so on. Although the new moon's energetic influence at source is consistent, it will affect different areas of life depending upon which moon sign we are born under and the position of our ascendant. While the new moon is introspective concerning the subconscious, the full moon illuminates a particular area of life which may have been neglected by our focal attention. As the sun is the energy source behind the focal mind and being on the opposite side of the zodiac, opposing the bright moon, this full illumination brings forth more of the moon's influence, shining a subconscious light on this neglected area, pulling it back into the picture and towards the attention of the focal conscious mind. If an individual has aspirations of becoming a great communicator or just improving their basic communication skills, instead of placing all attention on their physical perspective, relying solely on the 5% of the mind, which is their focal conscious awareness, it may be beneficial for them to consider utilizing the 95% part of the mind which is commonly dismissed. It may be advantageous to meditate during a new moon in Gemini for those 2.5 days of the new moon. All effort could be placed on reprogramming the subconscious using an array of techniques designed to stimulate the elephant and the Ganesha. With this in mind, unwanted obstacles can be removed in order to promote a new internal belief system and path towards better communication skills, leading to an improved perception and experience of reality. If we compare the natural cycle of the female menstrual period with that of the moon's phases in relation to developing subconscious reprogramming, we may get closer to understanding the natural process which may take place in order to discard old beliefs in favor of new ones. The start of the menstrual cycle can be compared to the start of a moon cycle, with the appearance of a new moon every 29.5 days. This can be utilized to discard unwanted subconscious beliefs from the mind, just as the uterus discards blood and mucosal tissue from the inner lining during the first 7 days of its cycle. This time can be used to create new positive intentions, affirmations, and visualizations, helping to sow new seeds and discard old ones. If one persists with regular repetitive programming techniques, the new seeds should germinate. Just as a new egg is produced around 14 days, the full moon should help to bring forth those new subconscious seeds into the physical realm. Being in tune with nature's cycles is important. Modern living, with its artificial lighting, timing, and electromagnetic pollution, is distorting our human biological connection to nature's rhythms, thus pulling us further away from independence towards the modern artificial material world of interdependency. We have moved so far away from nature's cycles that modern science cannot find any connection between lunar rhythms and the female menstrual cycle, concluding that the fact both cycles last 28 days is just a mere coincidence. Did you know that you have the ability to go deep within your mind beyond all 5 normal senses to do extraordinary things you never thought possible, and that one of these amazing abilities is the ability to remote view or witness with your mind's eye places, events, objects, and people at any location, no matter the distance, no matter the time, whether it be past, present, or future. Eco Institute Remote Viewing. Remote viewing can be attempted by almost anyone, and the main technique used to prepare the ground for this is meditation. To remote view successfully, the capacity and potential within the subconscious must be unlocked and utilized. Meditation puts the individual in the driving seat when it comes to steering the mind to where you want to go. Good remote viewers have developed their technique over time, centering their thoughts to a point whereby they can visualize almost anything. In 1975, the United States government sponsored a $20 million program called the Stargate program to determine any potential military value to psychic phenomena, including remote viewing. The program was terminated after 20 years, deemed unusable. One must ask, if it was unusable, why did it take 20 years to come to this conclusion, considering the amount of resources thrown at the project? On occasions, police have been known to use remote viewers to aid some difficult cases. One such case took place in California in 2006. A photographer from Los Angeles named Robert Knight had become worried about his lifelong friend and radio DJ, Stephen Williams. Knight had not heard from Williams for an unusually long time. Knowing a psychic and remote viewer, Knight approached Angela Smith for assistance. More than happy to help, she gathered a team of 6 trainees to see what they could come up with. After many sessions of remote viewing, the team presented their conclusions. There was a body in water, a fishing net, and all this was to be found off the southern coast of California near Catalina Island. Soon after this, an unidentified body was found off Catalina Island and broadcast to the media. when Knight heard the news, suspecting it was his friend Stephen Williams, he called the county morgue and told them he may know the identity of the body. He told them Stephen had 3 fingers missing on his left hand from an accident 50 years earlier. They put him on hold and went to check, and were astonished to find the fingers missing, just like Knight had said. After the body had been identified as Mr. Stephen Williams, Knight told the police of a possible suspect, an investment advisor named Harvey Morrow, who had befriended Stephen prior to his disappearance, with the aim of investing his fortune. The police were unable to find Morrow and asked if the remote viewers could shed some light on his whereabouts. Once again, the remote viewers got together to look outside their 5 senses for answers. After many sessions, they concluded that Morrow had fled to the British Virgin Islands. On this tip-off, the police finally found and arrested Harvey Morrows. He was later convicted and is now serving life in prison for the murder of Stephen Williams. People who have perfected the art of meditation can literally detach their conscious point of attention to somewhere other than the body and its 5 senses, essentially leaving their physical form and go to another place of their choosing. Buddhist monks are taught to master their meditative techniques as part of the training and discipline of their religious philosophy. Some senior monks have reached a point at which their detached conscious perspective has moved so far from the body that they no longer feel bodily pain from this new vantage point. This was witnessed on June the 11th, 1963, when Thich Quan Duc, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, was set alight at a busy Saigon Road intersection in protest of the persecution of Buddhists by the South Vietnamese Roman Catholic government led by Ngo Dinh Diem. Thich placed himself in the road and began his deep meditation technique, detaching his awareness from his physical body. At this point, petrol was poured over him and set alight. Although the images are disturbing to say the least, his body never flinched throughout the whole ordeal. All that was left was his charred remains. Immediately following the event, graphic film footage and photographs circulated all around the world. John F. Kennedy, the United States President at the time, made a statement concerning the shocking event. No news picture in history has generated so much emotion around the world as that one.